Hello and welcome to the Long Ball Street podcast. It's episode 36 and we're a few days away from Christmas, and obviously the first thing we need to address is the fact that at the end of the last episode it seemed very likely that you was about to have a baby, and a lot of people said very nice things actually.
Yeah, that was lovely to see, but I then felt disappointed that the baby didn't come. So
yeah,
I'm not actually disappointed it hasn't come yet.
Why?
Because
You're not
like
prepared
I need to rest a little bit. And I think that from what I'm hearing, his life changes fairly significantly from the moment that happens. Life changes, so I think I've got a little bit of this life.
You're taking a lot of advice from the wrong person, in my opinion.
As in Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
Jim, the washed-up agent. People that listen to the podcast will have heard him a few times.
He's turned into a very bitter man.
Yeah, he's giving me. He's scaring me, to be honest. I'm terrified.
Yeah. Don't listen to him. It's horrible. I mean, it's no good. If you're listening to this on the podcast, the audio version that you can download from iTunes and SoundCloud, we are on YouTube. The Long Ball Street podcast is on the Long Ball Street YouTube channel. And if you prefer to just see the best segment of the podcast, then you can find us on the main Ball Street channel. But we're going to give away this T-shirt. We've finally given it away, and we have a winner. 2
of these in the world. Only 2 of these in the entire world.
One's in your house.
One's in I put it under my pillow and wear it every night.
Does it smell of me, even though I've never worn it?
Yeah.
My musk.
Yeah, because I get Craig to capture hairs from you every day and just different parts of your DNA and then smear it in a ceremony.
Why Craig?
Because Craig's
He's got the time.
Yeah. And he's always seen and never heard.
So the winner of this glorious T-shirt, Flav knows, and I do know, I've spit a lot of knowledge over the last week or so.
Drum roll.
Yep,
Winner is
Super Tiger.
Super Tiger. Congratulations. You own 50% of the world's Flav Nose T-shirts.
I don't want to see it on eBay.
No, but you did say actually, the first time you did it, that you wanted something specific from Super Tiger, or whoever would win it.
Him or her in a T-shirt, but nothing else but the T-shirt.
So it's just a picture of them.
Full frontal nudity apart from the T-shirt.
It's not a very long T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm going to see dick.
Can we cut that?
Nope.
No, we don't edit it, unfortunately.
We don't want to see dick.
No, we don't want to see that.
I've got nothing against dick. It's fine. Don't need to see it.
We don't.
And we don't know. Yeah, this is a minefield, isn't it? No, forget. Just enjoy the T-shirt, and that's it.
Yeah, enjoy the T-shirt.
But so we're doing another giveaway because people seem to like it and react to it.
So we've got a.
We're giving away your Beats headphones.
We're not giving away those. Right. So this is gone. Thank you very much,
Super Tiger. And the reason why he won, by the way, is because he made an actual effort in writing making good comments on the podcast in the comments below on YouTube.
Right.
And also
we noticed that.
Yeah, we do notice it. Of course, we read all the comments.
Some people say some stupid stuff. Actually,
imbeciles out there, lots of them.
Some people just don't get it, which is a shame.
And they don't seem to care much for us.
No. But then you've got quite a bit of support though as well.
I don't know. On the talking social club this week, I took a Roger in.
What did you do?
Well, I've wound up a few Arsenal fans, haven't I? I mean, look, I'm expressing my opinion about Arsenal. When I do, by and large, most of them don't like it. There are some Arsenal fans out there, because I'm only talking honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remove as much bias
as possible.
When
you say honesty, you mean your opinion?
Yeah, and it's biased.
But it's still you're a Spurs fan.
And I'm truthful. Yeah. So, I think that Arsenal fans are going crazy over the fact that Wenger should be removed from the club and that they don't know how good they've got it. But I was a little bit more inflammatory than that.
Right.
So I'm getting a few
I think
negative comments.
But people have to realise is that this isn't the whole manifesto here at Ball Street is not what we're going to do is we're going to get the most neutral people and we're going to create something that's journalistically completely balanced. That's not what we're saying that we are. What we are is a bunch of fans. We don't have every single club in the world covered. Yeah. We don't have resources like the BBC or Sky or any of these people. Yeah. We make the best of what we've got. Yeah. And when we've got to get people up and down the country and stuff like that, that's costs us real money that we we don't get that given by license fees or anything like that. So we ultimately make the best we can do, right?
Yes.
And what we would never do is we'd ask anyone to be anything other than truthful. So we don't chase views and try and say things that aren't true and try and what we need you to do is to wind up these people in order to get views.
No.
There's none of that. And what there isn't is, but we want people to be themselves. So if a Tottenham fan he's pleased that Arsenal have lost, or he's saying something about Arsenal, it's because he's a fucking Tottenham fan, and that's, it's natural. Likewise, Liverpool, Man United, Huddersfield, Leeds, all these rivalries. Of course, Batman and the fucking Joker don't get on.
No. And it's boring if they did.
Exactly. So it's just get over weird stuff. I think it's unfair.
Irony, though.
Some of them have a laugh though and enjoy it, but some people just don't get it. Do they?
No.
Oh, this is terrible. You're biased. You're a fucking Tottenham fan. Of course you're biased.
My favourite comment was when the one who goes, I very rarely respond to abuse, right? But this one was good because he says, what do you know? You talk like you know something about Arsenal and Arsenal fans. And I grew up in Holloway. And I went to Highbury Grove School.
Right.
So the first.
Did you tell him that?
Yeah, I sent him a little message back. Like, not even being a smart ass, just like saying, I do know, and they're all arseholes. And I'm talking from experience. No, they're not. There are some good ones.
People here that are Arsenal fans that you're fucking best pals with. You know.
Yeah, Robbie from Arsenal TV.
Exactly.
We get on really well, so it's all good. It's fine.
Right, yeah.
Do you know? And Ian Wright, we're like best mates now. It was good times. Go and listen back to the Ian Wright podcast. He apologised to me for scoring goals.
He talks about upsetting you as a child, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Well,
it's a great line, that though.
Yeah.
Nothing personal.
It's nothing personal. It's just business.
Yeah, I was just doing my job.
They
made me do it as well.
His missus wants a cat, Craig, for Christmas.
Craig's missus wants a cat.
And he really doesn't want one. They're in a one-bedroom flat and he's worried about it destroying the furniture and the litter tray.
Wow.
Guess what he did? Guess what he did to convince his missus that he shouldn't have a cat?
He just covered himself in margarine and just slipped around on the lino.
I hope that happens at some point.
Just slithered around on the lino. Going, you don't need a cat.
You don't need a cat. I've got me.
Yeah. Look at me. Is that right, Craig? Yeah. So how are you handling this cat thing, mate?
Talk loudly. What did you see?
Last night walking home.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is getting picked up or not.
Yeah, it will. We will. I will reiterate.
Last night walking home, dead fox on the road. We live on a busy A4 road, dead fox. So I went home and she was in her pyjamas and stuff, and I said, put some shoes on, you need to go outside.
Oh my God.
Why? Why don't you need to go outside? I was like, put some shoes on, come outside. She faffed around for a bit, put her shoes on, came outside.
Probably thinking that she's going to get some elaborate proposal.
Present or something.
Dragged her to the road, showed her the dead fox with its guts all over the road, and said, this is why we can't get a cat.
That's amazing. And she's sitting there going, how did she respond?
She said, that's disgusting. Why have you dragged me out in the freezing cold to come and look at a dead fox in the road?
Amazing.
Wow.
It worked. She still wants one.
I love that.
He has no idea what he's going to do.
So as one competition ends,
yep, another
one begins. So we just found, we've been planning this for months, but we just found it a minute ago. Will that hold?
Yeah.
And what this is, does that square up on the picture well?
No, let's hold it up.
Alright, okay. So what this is the original first ever
vintage
Ball Street t-shirt, which we found. I'm not going to say that this is the best material in the world, it's not. I'm not going to say that it's the best printing. But what it is, it's an OG, and it's signed, this is from the draw show we did, it's signed Matty Holland, Jonathan Wilson, Guardian, journalist, Ian Wright, Ozzy Ardiles, Razor Ruddock, not sure.
Let's just say Ronaldo.
And the original real Ronaldo.
Yeah, R9.
Yep. Signed, sealed, delivered. So yeah, you can win this by
the same method as last time. Go and subscribe to the Long Ball Street YouTube channel.
Yeah, and maybe say Flav knows again, do we think? Or
no.
What should we say?
Let's say
hashtag OG.
Hashtag OG.
Is that too shit?
Or maybe something about hashtag OG. With a reason why you want this. What weird stuff would you do in this?
No, in fact, just tell us very honestly when you first started watching Ball Street knowing about Ball Street.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah. So just if it's your first video, fine. If it's
first podcast, whatever. Yeah,
just whatever it is, just tell us when you first came across us. That would be nice to know. So yeah, and you'll get this OG t-shirt. So hashtag OG. First time you kind of got involved in Ball Street in some way, shape or form. Nice.
Yeah, so it's Christmas, obviously, but I've got a story. I mean, an interesting thing about Christmas time is that it's always sort of steeped in football. There's always a Boxing Day fixtures tradition. You have a tradition with your your family of going to watch Huddersfield?
Yeah, well, it's wherever, if in England, because I like to get away sometimes this time of year, but if in England, I'll always go to the footy with my uncle and my cousin, and a bit of family, watch the game.
So, I mean, I had a Boxing Day experience with my old man. He took me to see Spurs versus Southampton. Boxing Day, I think it was 96, 97. Stefan Everson, 3-1, beat Southampton. Stefan Everson's got a brace. He was wank. But
What, in altogether or that day?
No, generally.
He was kind of threatened to be decent.
Yeah. I mean, we bought him 2.5 million from Rosenborg, but it never really kicked on. And it was just overall.
And was that off the back
underwhelmed.
of they had a couple of decent results perhaps in the Champions League?
Rosenborg,
yeah. And then there was that. Did Palachenko come after it? Because he was on a letdown.
He didn't came.
Was it Rebrov and then Palachenko maybe?
Palachenko was kind of 2009, 2008. It was much later.
He was disappointing.
He was. Rebrov was early 2000s. We had a fair few of the kind of Scandinavian slash Eastern European strikers that were underwhelming. But yeah, so I was driving back in my dad's transit van around the flyover. People who know Tottenham, coming from the Tottenham Marshes through to Tottenham Hale. Went round the corner, suspension blew on my dad's transit van.
Oh dear.
The whole transit van practically tipped over, but didn't. And I spent, it broke down. He got it over to the side of the road and spent the next 4 hours of Boxing Day as a 14-year-old boy, just sitting on the side of this road. It's the worst Christmas ever. So I'm fine with the fact that Spurs are not playing Boxing Day this year. I won't be watching it.
Yeah.
There's no football.
Okay. So when are you playing?
We're 28th, Southampton away.
So is there no Premier League on Boxing Day?
There is, just we're not playing for some reason.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So I used to like there's always like a few games at Christmas and it'd be like that old football fans used to sing back in the day, I'm dreaming of a 9-point Christmas.
Oh, really? Because it's 3 games over the period.
Yeah, 3 games over the period. It's I
tell you, for a long time, Premier League has been the kind of.
They've been trying to get rid of it, haven't they?
Trying to get rid of the winter break.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a massive shame.
Yeah,
I love the Christmas period. Typically, Spurs do quite well as well.
Yeah. It is nice because you get them games. It kind of breaks it up a bit.
Yeah.
Get out of the house. You know.
Typically, got no work, so you can kind of sit back and enjoy, get drunk if that's your thing.
It's nice when you got a bit of that on the telly as well.
Yeah.
So I'm against the Christmas break.
So for a long time, the Premier League has been the kind of jewel in the crown of world football. It's certainly in terms of the most attention from fans around the world, and it's still that case. But there's a kind of China of kind of stepping up to the plate, aren't they? They've just recently they're about to buy Oscar for 60 million, and why this is significant?
Just 60.
Yeah, 60 mil. They previously bought Paulinho for Spurs for like 18 million, which was insane because he was terrible. Their Drogba's played over there. Anelka, I think, had some time over there.
Anelka went over there.
Yeah.
Even Gaza played over there, right?
Who's the guy? Gary Lineker. No, it was Japan.
Yeah, he played at Grand Passat.
Yeah, but who was that player who signed for one of these teams? It might be Shanghai, but European clubs were kind of after him.
Teixeira.
Yeah.
Jackson
Jackson Martinez, he plays over there, coming from Porto, I think. But this is a big one, right? Because Oscar is about to move to China. He's 25 years old, £60 million. 25, he's not even in his prime yet. And the team he plays for is at the top of the Premier League. And admittedly, he's not getting the games. But this is a different thing from buying someone in the twilight of their career.
Yeah.
This is buying someone in their prime and snatching them from what is the richest country in terms of football in Great Britain.
It's kind of so it's kind of mad, isn't it? But what it tells you is, romantically, we've always liked to think that there's loyalty within football, and players, they play at a club and they love it and they want to stay. And actually, when we've spoken to the washed-up agent at times, do you know what he was talking about, Harry Kane? And you said, look, he loves us, right? And he wouldn't go anywhere. And he's gone, look, mate, I hate to tell you this, but he don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He will walk out the minute he gets the money or that kind of thing. For me, it kind of tells you that the mercenary element of football, the kind of greed, is prevalent and it exists. Because nobody's going to China on competitive for any football reasons, are they?
No, absolutely not. It's about money.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon that we could get a team together that could probably compete in the CSL.
Yeah.
You know, so how for Oscar to be playing with all these great Hazard, Kante, Costa, some great players at Chelsea against the best, I would expect as a child growing up that's what you want to do. You want to test yourself against the best. You want to play against the best. You want to play at a great level. If he was leaving Chelsea and going to Real Madrid or something like that, fine. But when you're going to China, you're going for the dough. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be one of the richest players in the world. Tevez is also signing for them. He's going to be on £605,000 a week. He earns about £1 a second.
£1 a second.
Yeah, it's every second.
Imagine that just been injured, just been like just laying there like that, just kind of watching the money rolling.
Yeah, I mean, and so for that reason you can understand it. Right, but what my point is here, and I think the interesting part of this is that there's a element that's outside of Europe in world football that can take the best players and essentially have the money to buy anyone they want. And for the first time, England are not in. For the first time in many, many years, England are not in pole position to buy or take or pay the most wages. It's still the most watched league in the world. It's still the most syndicated and makes the most money out of that respect. But in terms of the amount of money that China are pumping into, specifically this Shanghai Shenhua team, it's a kind of does it irritate you? Does it worry you? I actually quite like the fact that the Premier League are not the big dogs anymore.
Yeah.
Someone else will say, actually, you think you've got money, we've got money.
It's interesting.
And actually, if there's money coming in, huge amounts of money coming in, that will filter down into Premier League and hopefully down into Champions League and League One.
It's not filtering down. Nothing filters down in the Premier League, rarely, does it? Doesn't.
Yeah, maybe I'm being naive.
Yeah,
I am.
But the okay, so this whole China thing then. So the interesting thing is their TV deal. They've just done a huge TV deal, right? Now, obviously, China as a country, it's not got the kind of competition and the free market that you get in, democracies and in the likes of England and Britain and stuff like that. So I think a lot of it's funded by the government. So they have just gone deep on their own TV rights, they're now spend 1.25 billion, which is the biggest ever Chinese TV rights deal that they've just done. And that's for like 5 years of rights. So that's what's giving the clubs a lot of money. So the states kind of funded it in a way because they've identified football as an opportunity for them to kind of grow and to make their whole league more interesting and more competitive. They still spend, so they're the biggest spenders on Premier League rights still. Yeah. So obviously big interest in football, and there's a big interest from the government in order to use football as some kind of vehicle, right? So they spend the most on Premier League rights. They spend 1.25 billion for 5 years of their domestic league, 1.75 billion a year for the Premier League, and that's per 1 year.
Is that right?
That's what they spend. So they spend more on the Premier League than anybody else, right? So it's very interesting. Now, when you look at the size of the country, so their population, it's 4 times what you got in the US, and their population of China is twice the size of Europe combined in terms of people. So you start to think about that as a catchment area. It's the economy is the scale of the operation in the country is huge. So if they start to get it right in that country and get the league better and more competitive, then there's huge opportunities for market. You're creating a massive marketplace, and there's obviously an appetite for it. However, they've only ever qualified for one World Cup, and there's still an element where it's only going to appeal to certain people. So yes, they're on this world stage, yes, they're spending money on this world stage, but it's still only going to appeal to certain people. So, there's people over there like Pella, he's over there. They might have thought they were getting Pele, but it's not, it's Pella. Your mate Bar, great interview with him last week, by the way. I really enjoyed that.
It's a privilege.
But then there's, Ramirez, Hulk, Tevez, there's lots of guys that have gone over there. But then there's people like Yaya Toure, who apparently turned them down. He could have earned a fortune, he turned them down. So some people are still choosing competition over that. So I don't know if you're asking, is it a threat to the Premier League?
Probably
no.
Not.
Is it an opportunity for lots of people? Probably, it is. Do I give a fuck? No. I don't.
I think what the interesting thing about the TV deals is that there was there's a kind of fallout from the newest deal that China kind of pushed through, in that the big six in the Premier League, i.e. Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Chelsea and Man United, they could have been affected by existing deals that they had in China, and could have vetoed the deal that the Premier League were doing with the Chinese broadcasters
Why is that? Do they sell their own rights to stuff out there?
Yes, they may. So, for example, United, MUTV have a deal with a different TV company, which could have impacted their ability to function and trade in that aspect of their business.
Yeah.
So the big six, i.e. the teams I just mentioned, got together and discussed this deal and saying, look, should we pull out? Is this going to affect us? Yeah. Which is an issue, isn't it? Because if they have the power to veto a deal that eventually benefits everybody in the league, those other people are not involved in that discussion, then it's no longer a competition of what goes on the pitch or how much you can spend in transfers. It's a competition about how well you're allowed to do business, which is dangerous.
It is. I mean, I think that the way that leagues are structured is a really interesting, thought. I really like the way that the NFL is structured. I like that they have this thing called collective bargaining agreement, which is an annual thing where there's a process whereby people propose rule changes and they vote on these things and they vote on on the policies and the processes that run things like. It's democratic, and as well as that, the money that's generated by individual clubs for selling shirts, etc. So if Tottenham sell loads of Harry Kane shirts and Huddersfield are in the same league and we don't sell as many, we don't miss out on that. All the money goes into a pot and then that's kind of split evenly. So there's the NFL is they realise there that the sum of the whole is bigger than the interests of one, and if there's a strong league, then that means that they're all going to win, so to speak. Which I love that. You know? But it's different in the Premier League.
Yeah, because they've got a system where one team can be, in the bottom half and then win the Super Bowl next year, right?
Yeah, like the Raiders of my team has had. We've not been. It's 2002. We were in the Super Bowl. Since then, we've not even had a winning season, which means we've never won more than 8 games. We've often won 3 or 4 games, which is shocking. And this year, turned it around. We've now, I think, 10-2, 11-2, something like that,
right?
Or 3.
So that system's great, and obviously, like you say, it benefits. But in England, it's not. It's very much not like that, is it? When everyone works as an individual business, and it's.
But also, you've got that elite that ultimately have the too much power, too much ability. And this is like we've spoken about many times. It's at the detriment of the national game. It's at the detriment of the football league. It's at the detriment of grassroots, because there's all these greedy bastards, ultimately that are trying to take as much cash as possible and trying to position things that suit them rather than the wider interests. You think about international football and the impact that has. I remember it was Alex Ferguson. It was when they all of a sudden started to pay a lot of money, and Fergie's in charge at Man United. And England friendlies all of a sudden start to become a very different thing. They'd start to, hang on a minute. So whereas when I was a kid, whether it's a friendly or whatever, it was an honour to play for your country, and everyone was delighted, and we'd all watch the game because it was England were playing, right? It then started to become less about England are playing. It actually became, look, hang on a minute, we pay him, I don't know what they were saying then, 40 grand a week, 50 grand a week, we pay him this amount of money. So we don't want him to play for England, actually, because he's played a lot of games of late. We want him to have a rest so you can play him for 30 minutes. So the clubs, because they were starting to spend so much money on players, started to then have this right to dictate to the England team what they could do with the game. So then an England friendly, rather than an opportunity for the best players to get together and to get into tournament mode or something, they'd actually be going, we can only play him for half an hour, we can only play him, we can't play him. So the whole thing, then we started to do all these substitutions, and the whole friendly started to become a complete farce. And that's been a part of that decline, and it's ultimately because these top clubs, and then what they started doing at the same time is adding on more fixtures to the Champions League, because the Champions League is another way that we can kind of create a premium product. We can start to get a load of money from TV rights for them. It don't matter that you're playing Rosenborg and you're playing Viking FC. ludicrous and it's dead rubbers because Chelsea's already won the group.
Yeah.
We want to play those games because cha-ching, it puts money in our bank accounts. So the whole structure of English football has started to benefit those elite clubs rather than the collective. And whereas people that might be watching this that go, oh, isn't that great? I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah, fuck everyone else. That'd be brilliant. Or I'm a Liverpool fan and blah, blah, blah.
Any one of them.
Great, but it's kind of, for those of us like me that actually really want the whole of football to do well and want small clubs to have an opportunity to do well, and when England play, that's my opportunity to cheer on a big name play because we'll never sign any.
Yeah.
So that's when I'm like, well, fucking Stevie G plays for us, or Theo Walcott or Harry Kane or whoever it is. Come on, I'm with you. And the whole of international football has suffered really as a part of this whole thing. So
absolutely. I mean, the biggest symptom of that, I think, it was something Liverpool were trying to do. Ian Ayre was trying to negotiate a way where Liverpool could negotiate their own TV right still, like they do in Spain, where where Barcelona and Real Madrid receive 80% of the TV revenue, and the rest is shared out with the rest. So the problem with football and the competition in football has always been money, and it will always be that way.
Yeah.
But I just think I don't know. It's a shame. It's a shame that the top six get richer, the rich get richer, and the poor get poorer, and it makes it more difficult. Which shows how amazing it was that Leicester did win the league last year. Anyway, let's move on. So we was going to do something.
We're just going to say that that's probably it for what's going on YouTube.
Yep.
But they'll be over on the Long Ball Street channel. There's the opportunity to win this T-shirt.
Yep.
But also there's we're going to start to talk about pricing at football.
Yeah. So if you want to check out the whole long
glory hunting and then pod questions.
Yeah. So either download it, listen to it on your in your ear rolls, or
coming in your face.
What?
Coming in your ears and in your eyes.
Yeah. So that if you want to wait and see that, that's the long version, the long ball street podcast coming in your face. So there's been quite for a long time I was just in the position of the fan was going to be shafted by our football club. The club used the love you have for your football club and exploit that feeling you have for something that you just cannot walk away from, and kind of charge a premium for you to benefit. So to come and watch the team play, you have to pay a fortune. And so for a long time there's been campaigns by Spirit Shankly, Football Supporters Federation, us at the Fighting Cock have done some stuff around pricing, and big campaigning about getting prices. And I was always under this impression that we were never going to be able to do anything. The machine is too big. They don't have to listen to us. And then last year we saw the cap on away ticket prices for top flight clubs only. Away ticket prices at £30. Arsenal used that to further decrease by using the £200,000 given to each club by the Premier League to make going to watch your team away from home easier. Tottenham use it to provide free coaches. Arsenal use it to reduce ticket prices by a further £4. So for Arsenal fans, it only cost them 26 to go away. So what I'm saying is that there was...
So it's for Arsenal fans to go away?
£30 for everyone, but Arsenal used the £200,000 bursary that they get to further reduce those ticket prices.
So what's the is there a cap on the away travel now in the Premier League?
Not the travel's still whatever it is.
No, I mean, sorry, to
ticket prices.
The ticket price.
£30
max.
Yeah, and FSF is still campaigning to get that reduced to 20.
20's plenty.
Exactly. So I mean, and that was an amazing thing. The fact that happened, it was kind of very, it was encouraging that people that you could make a difference.
That fans standing strong together and putting the club rivalries aside momentarily. Yeah. And realizing that the voice that they can generate together had more power. Yeah. Is
essentially, I mean, it's a phrase that we use at Bull Street Collar, but they club together. You forgot partisanship, realised there was a greater evil, a greater issue rather than your team winning, and working together, which is why it's so disappointing to hear Sheffield United fans sing pro Sisu songs against Coventry. Yeah,
there's always I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it? I don't know where you draw the line on that, because I've been to a lot of football over the years, and one of it's like, even when you haven't got anything to play for, you still go to the game. Yeah. And it's always quite fun when you play against another team, and you do. It's like in life, isn't it? if someone's in there and they've got a shit coat, you go, that's a shit coat.
Yeah.
You know, if they're
It's a geezer wearing a yellow jacket and then you sing Banana at him or something like that.
Exactly. So you have a go for what's there.
Yeah, I get that.
And in footy, you do get them things where someone's going down and you're like, down with the so and so. You're going down with the so and so, and you also then as fans get hold of that and try and own it. So I remember when we'd be bottom of the league, it's happened a few times. We'd be singing the football league is upside down. We're going up with the so and so who were then one that was next bottom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you try and you have these
like gallows humour.
Yeah, it's like the gallows humour. But it is tough when it's with Coventry, who essentially have been
they've just been poorly managed by a set of company that's there to make restructuring their debt, remanaging it. So it's been terribly managed. Coventry, and Sisu came in 2008 and bought them. They were losing something like £15 million a year.
Wow.
No, a month. It might have been. No, a year. I can't remember which one it was.
Can't be £50 million a month. That's
it might not be that. I might be wrong here.
What's that like? That's 200 odd million a year.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's losses that you can't sustain.
so Sisu's a specialist, not just in football, in anything, of going in and managing a company properly.
Okay.
So in inverted commas. So they've reduced their debt, but they got into massive amounts of arguments with the local council who have the lease on the own the stadium, Ricoh Arena. Yeah. And so they kind of started combating the council to try and get them to reduce their rent. And it's got to a situation now where next season Coventry won't have a home. They may have to play their football at a local rugby ground or at Northampton. So it's just a fucking mess. And the biggest issue here is that Sheffield United fans. It's a difference between digging them out because they've been shit on the pitch. Poor manager. That's part of the game.
Yeah, that's out of order. You know, Sheffield United have had some tough times. A load of clubs have had some tough times. Yeah. And when you see it happening to your club, or when you see it happening to a club, football a lot of times, that whole football family thing, people do kind of get behind. So I'm not going to sit here and throw Sheffield United fans under the bus and suggest that they're all idiots. It's probably a bit of banter, which kind of uneducated, not fully well thought out, and probably haven't really realised the impact of what they're saying. Yeah. Because if that was happening to them, they'd be losing their shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they should be. And actually, when clubs are being run into the ground, when clubs are being, taken for granted and their assets stripped, and which is, let's face it, it's happened quite a lot. Yeah. When these things are happening. We've got to try and stand with and help each other. Because
at Sisu we're looking at that and just thinking actually they've stopped concentrating on us and now they're concentrating on Sheffield United. It benefits the people that are really at fault. Yeah. So there's this idea. I've said it a few times before, but when the powers that be love it when you look sideways rather than up.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
It's the same thing with strikes on the tube, whether you agree with them or not. Yeah. The fact is, what they want you to be as angry at the tube drivers.
I'm not being funny. I don't know if this is probably not to everyone's liking, but it's just like when in states and with government propaganda where they try and create an enemy or fear in the people about a certain threat in order to ultimately get people passionate about the wrong things, whilst meanwhile they then pass this law, that law, and get these things done.
100%.
It justifies a lot of behaviour. It's the same principle, and it feels like this is happening in society in a whole variety of different ways. And there's probably for the first time ever, and I think this is what the advent of social media has really enabled, is for people to actually organise more information to get about the place, and hopefully people can start to have more transparency. And in football, we need that to be fansparency.
Fansparency, exactly. And this was happening with pricing. To get back to the point, it was happening with pricing as well. Because I remember a lot of people laughing at Man City fans because they couldn't fill their stadium. Yeah. For a Champions League game. Yeah. And you'd laugh at them being pathetic fans when it's costing 60 quid to get into the stadium.
60 quid, crying out loud.
When you're laughing at them, you're making it more difficult. You're focusing on them being the issue, them being poor supporters, rather than the people that are charging the prices. Yeah. So anyway, we get to a situation now where West Ham are offering tickets against Man City for a Premier League game at 15 quid. Tottenham's Europa League game against Gent in the Champions, so in Europa League starts from £5. So I mean, whatever's happened, the clubs have listened, and I just thought it was worth highlighting the fact that these campaigns have gone on, and clubs are reacting, and they realise that a full stadium full of passionate people at £5, it gives an opportunity for young people to start going to games, old people that wouldn't otherwise be able to afford it. A father or a mother can take their family without having to worry. You know, for the price of one ticket for a normal Europa League price ticket at White Hart Lane, which is about £20, you can take a family now. And I just
nice.
just think there's so much negativity, and it's easy to focus on that. And I think it's good sometimes when you see clubs like West Ham, Arsenal and Tottenham actually doing something.
You need more of this. When we had so many FSF conversations and we were talking about the dialogue that fans can have with clubs, and I think sometimes it's a bit of fan washing, it's ticking a box. When you've spoken to the fans, and actually it's just the yes man type fans that are just almost like covered in badges and, you know, like jackets, and they'll just go because they're just delighted to be in the club. That's not actually talking to the proper fans. But it feels like there's a little bit more of the realization that there's an age where you need to actually start to treat your fan base with a bit more respect, because they've been taking them for granted for a long period of time. People have been thinking, do you know what, they'll do whatever, they'll continue supporting the team. I mean, how lucky to have a business whereby your audience is in this whole mental state where you'll be loyal no matter what. It allows people
for a long time.
And it allows people to do things that take the piss, because they'll be like, they'll still fucking turn up next week. So it's nice to see people listening and responding with initiatives, and I think we've seen a few successes like that. And long may it continue.
Well, we've broken the seal now, and more stuff. They're ready to listen, and we know that as football fans as a whole, if we push hard enough, things will change and get better. Talking about, you mentioned proper fans there. I was reading online, and one of the main gripes, they've got this thing on the Reddit. There's a good subreddit called Reddit/r/soccer. Right, all kinds of stuff on there. And one of the things is Moan Monday, which I love. So people go on there and just whinge about football. So one of the things they were talking about, it's an old subject, but I wanted to ask you about it because you're one of the only people I know, actually from Ball Street, are the only people I know who support a lower league team. You support Huddersfield, James supports QPR, Adam supports Brentford.
Cal was Southend,
and Cal was Southend, exactly. But Ball
Jed
Street,
Charlton.
Yes, but all of those people work here at Ball Street. Outside of that, I don't. Most of the people I meet have
Premier League fans.
And there's this term glory hunting. So first, like before we get into it, why are you a Huddersfield fan, and what was your reasoning for it, and do you ever regret it?
Do I ever regret it? No, not at all. I mean, so I think when the first kit I got, and it was given to me before you're able to, you're just given a kit. I was given a Liverpool kit as a kid. I remember loving football and playing football for clubs and stuff, going into towns. We only had one sports shop back in them days called GT Sports in Wakefield, and they had like 3 kits in there. There was like an England kit, a Leeds kit, and an Everton kit or something. And maybe, in fact, there wasn't even an England kit. It was a Liverpool, Man U, Everton, because Everton had just won the league in like '84 or something like that. And going and picking an Everton kit, right? But from 7, I was going to watch Huddersfield. My uncle took me because he's from there. And I used to go, and at first I used to hate it. Because it was cold and it was fucking shit. Like, it was really shit at times. You know, we were always shit. The food there was shit. People used to piss at the back of the toilets. People just piss at the back of the stand. It was weird football in them days. I remember in Liverpool in about the Wet Echo, where people would go in and be so busy that they'd all take their newspaper and they'd just and then just wang it
that's
forward.
fucking rank.
It is, but this is what football
but
was
piss
like.
on the floor and let it trickle. Don't fucking.
But you can't. You'd be pissing in someone's pocket.
Pissing like
it was
fucking.
It was packed. It was no sitting.
But
it was terracing.
You imagine watching football and you get whack on the head with a Wet Echo?
By a Wet Echo. People did. I think.
Fuck that.
It's like at concerts.
What a bunch of rotters.
But yes, so I was kind of forced to support Huddersfield, and I tried to fight it a little bit, but it just slowly starts to build in you, and to the stage where you then it's part of your identity. And I went to a school full of Leeds fans,
right?
And
Leeds were big at the time.
They're kind of. I think they might have got promoted during it, but the part of Wakefield I live is right by Leeds, and everyone in where I was from, like Renthorpe, Outwood, that kind of part of Wakefield, all Leeds really. and that made me a little bit more staunch what I am. But football in them days, it was about going to the football.
Yeah.
So there'd be people that'd be giving me shit, and I'd just be like, "You don't even fucking go, mate. You don't even know the songs." So me, this kid called Johnny, and he'd sing his songs, and it was.
What do you think?
It's just your team, man. You know what I mean? And I've stuck with them all my time. And I chose the Oakland Raiders as a kid, watching NFL, and I fucking still support them. So I've obviously got this loyalty gene that means that you're stuck with it.
I started. I've started Spurs, and they've always I've never seen them relegated. Always been in the top division, but by and large, for a lot of the time, underperformed. It's only the last 10 years that they've actually started to do anything decent. But the reason I've started supporting Tottenham is because my old man was Spurs, and my 5 brothers, my 3 older brothers, 2 older brothers at the time, the others weren't born, were Tottenham as well. And that was my connection with them. And that was the experience I had with them. I didn't even really care about Tottenham, the actual team, but that was the connection we had as a family.
Yeah.
And it meant I could go and do things around that I wouldn't otherwise have done.
Yeah.
So that was never going to break. It wouldn't matter how bad Tottenham were, because that was what was important. And to this day, still the same.
But even so, mate, even though you've, and I know it's not about this, but even though Tottenham have underperformed, fuck, man, look at the player. You've had some amazing players there.
Yeah, Klinsmann. Yeah, I remember when I was...
Gaza, crying out loud, Gaza was playing so good when he was at Spurs.
I was only like 10 at the time. I don't really remember. He left when I was about 10. But Klinsmann, when he signed in '94... Andy Booth was there. Played 3 games, scored 1 goal.
Yeah, well, disallowed, but I count it.
Yeah, I count it too. Spiritually, it was a goal. Yeah. So I was lucky that my parents and my brothers supported that. But there are people out there, and one of the guys on this Reddit subreddit, he was talking about how his brother supports, wait for it, Arsenal, Barcelona, and Borussia Dortmund.
Right.
And he, that is glory hunting in its most extreme, surely.
Arsenal,
Barcelona, and Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal, to be fair,
it covering your bases. You know what I mean? You're going to have something to cheer about.
But how attached can you be to their football clubs? And
you can't. But football's changing, mate. And a lot of the people that watch this will be young, and like it's like language. You know, when people sit there and say, crying out loud, you're not speaking right. It's like, for me, language is for who's speaking it, and dialect, and that it's constantly evolving. And who are you to say, just because when I was alive it was like, when I was in my prime it was like this, that it means it should be like that forever, because it wasn't before, and it was not afterwards. And so I think that the way I see football, and the way I was born and raised with football, doesn't mean that that's how it should be. Everyone's got their own rights, I kind of think. And football is changing. So a lot of young people now have grown up playing FIFA. When I was a kid, you didn't have Premier League on the football every single day, let alone foreign leagues. You'd find out about a lot of foreign players in a World Cup or in a Euros, or by watching the final stage. You'd be watching a Champions League final, and this was your first chance to see Lothar Matthäus or Platini or whoever, and you'd be like, oh my God, they've got this player called so-and-so, and I can't wait to watch them. And for young people now, they know these players intimately on FIFA, on Championship Manager. They know them because they're on TV. They know them because their moments are amplified through social media on daily. They're in a different world. So who am I, just because I grew up supporting Huddersfield Town and going every week and thinking that was... Who am I to actually say, sorry, mate, you can't do that?
Yeah, to be honest, I hadn't even really considered about that, because they find their attachment through things like FIFA, and
people can be. What constitutes a friend's a different thing now. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, your friend was someone that you knew and that you hung out with. Now it's someone that you might never have met, but lives on the other side of the world.
I've found birds on the internet.
Of course you have.
Yeah, like specialist websites.
Of course you have. Like,
well, I'm not brave enough to say it.
And they're just
like,
big and proud.com.
Big and beautiful.
Big and beautiful.
Yeah, there's the actually, I don't want to carry on this conversation.
It's got bad.
Yeah, it's going really bad, and I know that I'm not worried about saying things that could get me in trouble, so I will stop. But just for the record, I've never met anyone off the internet.
No.
Or paid for any kind of liaison.
No. Of course.
Yeah, but the missing out, the way the connections that young people have, and they find the connection to football through things like FIFA. I understand that completely, but I feel like they're missing out on something and they don't realise it. That's my issue and that's my worry. It's fine if you support Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, and Arsenal if you have to, but you're missing out on something that's quite magical, and it's that bond that you have by going and attaching yourself to
the bit that I've never liked or got on with in football is when people choose a team, right? Fine, for whatever reason. Oh, me, so and so. I was born there. So whatever reason, true or not, it is that validates their decision to be a Man United fan when they live in London, or a Liverpool fan if they live in Yorkshire or whatever. Yeah. Whatever reason they choose for those things, it's kind of what I don't like is when people have got that. Well, we won the league, and therefore check me out, I'm better than you because it's like what
your team's better.
Because your team's better, yeah. And it's like they're trying to look down on you. It's like, oh fucking hell, do you spell Huddersfield? You know what I mean? Fucking. It's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
We had
it's stupid.
This week, a lot of the comments again on this Arsenal video we did on Social Club were saying, how can you comment? Spurs haven't finished above Arsenal in 26 years. So I can't understand the situation.
So you can't speak about.
I can't make a comment about the situations happening at Arsenal because my team, which I have no bearing over, which I can't control, all I can do is go and support them. It means that I don't get to comment on someone who's finished above us. Our team has finished above us. Madness.
It is madness.
Completely. Mad thing.
So I don't get that. Craig, how do you feel about that?
Don't like fans of little clubs, to be honest.
You don't like Is that the end of it? You don't like fans of little clubs?
I feel like, when someone says they support a little club, it's like they're forcing themselves to look niche. And be
is that what it is?
I'm trying to look niche.
I'm independent. I'm a Carlisle fan. Fuck off, mate.
Okay.
I kind of get that. It's
true.
This is a man who's when he first joined Ball Street, said he's a Chelsea fan, but never really commented, didn't say anything, didn't engage in any conversation when we were taking the piss out of Chelsea. But since they've gone top of the league, fucking every day got really antsy. As won't have it if anybody says anything about Chelsea being, his one biggest gripe is when the Chelsea don't get the credit they deserve.
Oh really?
Is that right, Greg?
God.
Well, at the start, I was fine. I took all the shit because we weren't doing well. We'd had a shit season the year before, so it's fine. You've got to take the down periods.
Yeah.
Not that I've had many in my lifetime supporting Chelsea.
Oh God.
But then, now that we're doing good, all I hear at Ball Street is about how Liverpool are amazing, Arsenal amazing. Look at the league table. Look how good we're doing. Chelsea haven't been mentioned for about 7 weeks. We've won 11 games in a row. 11 games in a row. And what?
Poor Chelsea. Can we? I wish we could just play some little violin music or something.
He has to edit it.
He has to edit it.
Put some violin music over.
Yeah. Poor we're not getting the credit we deserve.
To be fair, we're not talking about them at all, and no one really wants to talk about Chelsea, which is the beauty of having. And you, we could talk about it if you would step in front of the camera, but you're not interested.
Yeah, won't do it.
Won't do it.
Just try it now.
Look, he doesn't want to look how uncomfortable he's got.
Hilarious. Okay, so
brilliant. All right. So anyway, let's
glory hunting in football. That's done.
Yeah, done. Podcast questions. So Super Tiger won the T-shirt. Flav knows T-shirt, one of only 2 in the world. Again, let's reiterate, if you want to win this OG Ball Street shirt, it's 7 years old. Probably not that old.
No, it's not that old.
Not that old. Signed by Ian Wright, Neil Ruddock, Akinfenwa.
Yeah, no, Akinfenwa's not on that one.
Not on there. But if you're desperate for Akinfenwa, we
can get you there.
Probably get it done because, we know him. Well, Matt, you know him, and I've kind of met him once. So Super Tiger, who won the other T-shirt, he says, would you take #pod question? If you want to ask your own podcast questions, then just use the #question in the comments on the YouTube channels. #questions. Yeah. And we'll answer them. Anyway, so would you take a full-strength punch in the stomach from Mike Tyson or a tattoo your main rival's club crest, Arsenal in your case, Flavio, I'm aware of our rivals are, Super Tiger, on your chest? The ink must be kept for 5 years minimum.
So when I looked at this initially, because it says your name on here and Arsenal, I just read that as it was just a question for you. So I hadn't thought about it, and I was like, oh, obviously, would be interested to see what Flav says.
Well,
but it actually does include me.
Yeah, it does include you.
Go on. Well, you do it first.
The thing is, it's not just taking a punch in the stomach from Mike Tyson could kill you.
It's gonna hurt.
It's gonna kill, and you could die.
A punch in the stomach.
Yeah. Like, what's his name? Houdini died. Houdini died from a punch in the stomach.
Not from Mike Tyson.
No, exactly, just from a bloke.
Just from a bloke.
Yeah, so if Mike Tyson was to hit you, probably would kill you actually if he was to be hit standing here.
I think actually, you know the little, you know when you're about to do something like, have you ever like jumped off a cliff or out of an airplane or on a bungee or something like that?
Nothing like
and
that.
you do have that fear before you do it,
I could die.
which is adrenaline. It's the body preparing to do something great, to do something it doesn't normally do, and you have anxiety. I've jumped off rocks and stuff like that.
But that feeling of...
So you're scared, you're nervous. It's something that you're afraid to do. You're aware of your own mortality, etc., etc. And you just kind of, you start to hear your head pounding.
Yeah.
You can't kind of breathe. You're breathing shallow and quick.
Yeah.
I think I die from the anticipation of Mike Tyson
That's a heart
hitting
attack.
me, because that's the most...
You probably would die.
I wouldn't like. I mean, if you were going to punch me in the stomach, I'd be aware that that's gonna hurt, and I'd probably be flinching and shitting myself. But Tyson, I think I'd get the tattoo.
Well, this is
Even
it.
though it's only for him.
This is a horrible question, because you'd either die from being punched in the stomach by Mike Tyson, huge internal damage,
Yeah.
or you would die from shame. I would die from shame. I'd probably rather die. I'd rather die from punching the stomach than get Arsenal's crest tattooed on my chest. And the thing is,
I mean, imagine it just every single day.
and
So every time you just kind of like...
yeah,
I mean, I thought maybe you had one because you always have your top button of your shirt done up.
that's a style choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's,
So I'm
it's a
lucky enough
tough
to be
one.
able to just say that I'll rather die than have a tattoo, because I'm never gonna. I'm luckily not being put in that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wouldn't like a Leeds tattoo on my chest. That's for sure.
That's almost as bad as Arsenal. Dirty Leeds. Spencer Gregory, who is an Arsenal fan, says, "What do BT Sport need to do to be as good, if not better, than Sky Sports? PS, love the podcast." Well, that's quite a big question.
It is a big question.
Business-wise, but ultimately, I think that they just need to be able to match what
So
Sky spend, innit?
Well, I think probably they did match a lot of what Sky spent. Look, it's a tough question. I think firstly they should call me and we'll go through this properly, because we can help with that.
What, BT Sport?
We can help BT. Well, we've actually worked with BT Sport a few times.
Oh, I thought you was talking about Spencer Gregory should give you a
No,
call.
no,
and have a chat.
I like Spencer Gregory though. I see his comments. He seems kind of a bright, normal human being, which is
He makes an effort to talk to us, which is nice.
it is. I don't know. I kind of feel not disappointed by BT, but they made a lot of noise about being different and. Look, okay, so if you're doing content, and this is what a lot of people out here don't fucking realise, to get people into the same room, to record something, to get it done, to get it out there, that is not an easy thing.
No.
And to do that consistently week in, week out, or day in, day out, that adds a grind, because you're a small company, people have holidays, things go wrong, cameras and stuff like that, it all costs money. So anyone that gets anything going, I have respect for. That's the first thing to say about this.
Yeah.
And I know BT have used they don't make all the stuff themselves. So for a long time they were using what they call Sunset and Vine production company and kind of making their content. And it felt like for me, for the first while, they didn't know what they were fucking doing. They're doing a bit of that, a bit of that. They're ripping off loads of ideas. I watch a lot of American sport. Some ideas from where they had like Michael Owen in the lift or in a meeting room, or that rugby player doing this. All these little trailers, all completely ripped off from Sports Centre in America.
You can kind of understand that to a certain degree.
Yeah, I can. But what I'm saying is they made a lot of noise about being really different.
Yeah.
And I don't think that just taking the score from the top right hand corner and putting it in the bottom right corner, it represents a whole load of difference, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that they. I think that
it's a difficult thing to do, isn't it? Because Sky Sports they're like the mainstay. There's more to it, obviously, than my first instance. Well, you just generate more money, outbid Sky, and just get rid of and outbid them that way. But it's going to cost so much more money because Sky will hold on to it with dear life and pay over what they should. Yeah. It's going to be interesting in the next the next time the bidding comes around, because obviously I'm not sure if figures are continue to fall for Premier League football. But
well, look, there's been a few people that have had a little run at that Sky, a little nibble. So ESPN's one of them. Setanta Sports is the other one. Yeah. BT, on account of their the rest of their business. So obviously BT, it's not just a sports channel, is it? They might knock out the odd phone or the odd broadband package. So when they start to aggregate services, it really makes it start to be a big play for them, because they can go head to head with Sky. They've probably got more infrastructure with Sky. So they are, the football and the bidding for Premier League is one part of a whole massive beast and thing that's going on there. I mean, it's almost like saying, who out of the Devil and Saddam Hussein, it's like two massive companies that are both huge. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I honestly don't care about them in a way.
I love listening to you talk about business.
It's good. How does it be too better? I tell you, it'd be interesting, Spencer, because you do seem a bright guy. What do you think they should do? That's what I'd be more interested in, really. What do you think they should do?
Yeah, let us know in the comments below.
He also says, P.S. love the podcast, which is nice.
Yeah, I did say that.
Love Spencer.
All right, so am.saturday says, what a wonderful way to end the pod last week when you found out that your missus wasn't in labour.
That was weird. Just when I watched that back,
it was so awkward.
I'm sweating now again, just thinking. But we were just flapping.
Yeah.
Like it's been a mad period. I've moved house, business. We're raising capital. We're doing a load of stuff. The kid getting all ready for that stuff, doing NCT and trying to understand and find out about this thing. So I'm a tired man, and I just hope now the baby doesn't come until just after Christmas, so I can just have a few days, relax, just get back centered again. Because apparently it's a fairly intense first few weeks.
You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
I'm scared of it.
Yeah, do you know what my brother used to say? Like he said he wasn't really interested in having kids. His missus got pregnant, and then when she came, honestly, the only thing he wanted to do was spend time with his bub.
Yeah, I understand.
But forget that.
And please don't get me wrong. I don't not want to have the kid. I do. I'm just saying.
You haven't said anything to me that suggests that you wouldn't want to get the kid. Can we just stop diverting from the end of this podcast? At the end of this question.
You're not the godfather.
What the fuck? What do you mean? I've already bullied one of my mates.
You're the podfather.
No, not having that.
Yeah, you might go for that. Now, Craig's already the godfather.
Craig! Who is it? Do I know this guy? Who is the godfather? Do I know him?
No, there is not. We've not even done that kind of thing yet.
Think about it.
I'll bear it in mind.
I think I'd make a good godfather.
I don't know.
I've only met Ty once.
I don't know if you're a good role model though. For given the amount of references to soft porn and strippers in every single and given when we did the Ball Street Christmas quiz last week, I was marking your paper. Yeah. One of the answers to a question you clearly didn't know was just tits. I was going through. I didn't know who it was. I was just marking. It was like tits. Oh, this must be yours, Flav.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know what? Fair enough. If it's a boy, maybe that's
a girl.
Fine.
We've been through this.
God, I should know this. As godfather, I should know this.
Yeah. But AM Saturday and anyone that mentioned that, it was quite nice actually. Yeah,
wasn't it? There was lots of people.
Yeah.
And I had mates texting me saying, "How's Matt? How's he doing?" People that don't know you.
Yeah, that's lovely. That is.
It is lovely. Everyone's rooting for you,
I'm quite touched by that.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for downloading the podcast. Remember, you can win the OG Ball Street podcast, Ball Street T-shirt by going on the Long Ball Street podcast, subscribing and leaving a comment, #OG Ball Street, with explaining how you first come into contact with Ball Street.
We're going to do another show for
end of year.
It's kind of is there anything that people can do to help us with that? I can't.
Okay, so we're not struggling, but we
are.
We're struggling. We're struggling for topics to talk about. So these are general topics. Looking forward into the new year, so we're going to do some predictions. No, what the fuck did we? It wasn't that, was it?
I can't remember.
Shit, we had a good idea when we were in the toilet. We were both in the toilet, remember? Well, we were.
We were in the toilet. It's quite. It just makes it sound a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's
not a problem.
No, fine. What is it? What was the thing?
We had an idea about the next.
Probably just pause this for a minute, Craig.
No.
Look, I tell you what.
Tell us what to talk about.
Tell us what to talk about for the. What would you like to see in a Christmas, New Year, end of season wrap up show? We don't want to just do what everyone does.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So we won't look back at last season, and we don't really want to predict what happens next season.
I don't think. Or was that the idea?
I can't remember what the idea was.
If you've got any ideas, let's hear them. And that'd be great.
Remember, thanks for leaving reviews. Remember, you can catch the Social Club, You Decide, and Talking Balls on the Ball Street main channel every single week. Go over there, subscribe, and you know what? Have a lovely, lovely Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
that's good.
Merry Christmas, Oh, hang on, they're gonna see us again before then, aren't they? Or is this
No,
after
that'll
Christmas?
be next week.
Oh, Merry
What
Christmas.
we're doing is we're banking content.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.